Hey, this is Scott, and today I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that I've noticed about the Canon C200 that I haven't really seen too many other people talk about. So this is not an in-depth video at all, even as far as first impressions videos go, but there were just a couple of things that I noticed about the C200 that other people didn't necessarily skip over, but maybe didn't dwell on so much, and that I thought might be a little bit more interesting. They kind of stood out to me as things that might be a little bit more significant, both good and bad, mostly good, but I just wanted to talk about them very quickly today. So of course I will be making some more in-depth videos about the C200 and also some comparison videos just to see how it looks side by side with, the 5D Mark IV using C-Log and the GH5, for example. So if there's anything special that you want to see, then be sure to let me know down below and I'll try to address that in some future video. Something that I did see a couple of people mention in other videos is the fan noise being a little bit noisy. And while that's true, what I didn't know is that you can set the fan to automatic and it will run while the camera is running, but then when you start to record video, the fan will turn off and it will only kick in when it's absolutely necessary, so you don't get any of that fan noise in your video. So again, that's something that people kind of mentioned, but they didn't really go into depth about, and I think it's important to note that the fan can be set to turn off while you're recording. Coming from the 5D Mark IV and also the GH5, the custom white balance function on the C200 is actually really nice. On the 5D Mark IV, you have to take a picture first, which, if you're shooting in C-Log, the exposure for the picture seems to be a bit different, and it's a little bit picky when you go in to actually set the custom white balance from that picture. So you do have to get a good exposure using whatever profile you have on your photo side, and then switch back over and then set it in your settings, and then switch back over to video, adjust your exposure again. It's kind of a hassle. I could be wrong on that. I haven't actually gone super in-depth to it because I've been recording a lot with the GH5, but this is just similar to the GH5 in the way that you put a gray card in front of it, you hit the auto white balance button, and it does it. You don't have to take a picture and then blah blah blah. Of course this doesn't really take pictures, so there's that. But it's just a lot easier to use and a lot closer to the GH5, which I thought was always a lot easier than the 5D Mark IV, so it makes it a lot quicker and easier to get that done. The touchscreen does seem to work well for what you can use it for, but I actually didn't realize before getting this that the touchscreen doesn't work for the menus. I've gotten really used to using the touchscreen in the menus for both the 5D Mark IV and the GH5, so I was a little bit disappointed that you can't use the touchscreen here for the menus on the C200. Otherwise it works fine, and there's a lot of joysticks around the body on the screen and on the handle, so it's easy to navigate, but just I didn't realize it before actually getting my hands on this that you couldn't use the touchscreen for the menus, so just be aware of that. Of course, this was talked about in other videos, but they didn't dwell on it quite so much. I love the face tracking autofocus, both in the 5D Mark IV and now in the C200. It works just really, really great. But the difference from the 5D Mark IV is that the C200 has the face-only face tracking autofocus, which basically means that if there's no face, or if the face is momentarily hidden, or you look away from the camera or something, it's not going to try and search for something else to focus on. So if you're doing something like this and I turn my head to the side, or I bend over for a moment or something, and it doesn't see my face, it'll just stay where it is, and then when I come back into the frame it will kind of lock onto my face. So you don't have that awkward focusing on the background situation when your face momentarily becomes obstructed, or when you turn around or anything like that. So when recording people for interviews or just really a lot of different situations, I think that's an amazing feature and a small but very useful difference from the 5D Mark IV, which was already really great. In terms of the batteries, I have two sizes, the 30 and the 60, and I was actually surprised at how long they both do last. Of course, it's not as long as the V-Lock on the GH5, for example, but you get a couple of hours out of the smaller battery and almost 4 hours out of the larger battery, which if you have a couple of those, it's definitely usable. And they're just so compact that it's really nice to have a compact battery that lasts long enough. And also it shows you on the screen how many minutes you have remaining in battery time, which is really, really useful. And I've been able to get that all the way down to like 1 or 2 minutes with no problem, so it seems to be very accurate. Just the whole battery situation is definitely very nice, and I'm enjoying it. One thing that's kind of weird about the autofocus system is that when you're moving the autofocus box with the joystick, it has like a weird knot in between. Again, I have to dive more into the settings. This might be something you can adjust. If it is, let me know. But when you're moving it with the joystick, I find that if you click it one by one, it moves really, really kind of incrementally and very slow, but if you hold it down, it's kind of slow and then jumps quickly, and it's hard to get like that in-between speed where you're either going to be click, 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 click to get it, you know, to where you want it to go, or you're going to have that holding the button down, the joystick down, and it's going to kind of jump quite a bit. There's no in between, and I would wish that could be kind of fine-tuned a little bit more as far as the speed that it moves when you move the joystick. Again, if there's some way to adjust that in the menu that I haven't noticed yet, I'm only about 60-70% through reading the manual so far, let me know down below, because I would really like that small little change. The waveform monitors are very useful, and you can see them, of course, both on the LCD and in the viewfinder. I do find the viewfinder waveforms a little bit easier to see, just a little bit. It's not much of a difference, but I would love the ability to either move or change the size of those waveform monitors. I would like to make it just a little bit bigger, and then, you know, you can turn it off when you're going to actually be shooting and you need to see the screen more clearly. But as of now, it doesn't seem like you can change the size of it. So I do wish that was something that you could do. So something that really might not matter at all to a lot of people is about the microphone shock mount that is included with this. It's a 19 or 20 millimeter microphone shock mount. So like this Rode NTG4 Plus, it's a little bit larger, a few millimeters larger. It won't fit in there. I think the Sennheiser MKE 600 is 20 millimeters, so it should fit if my memory serves me correct. But just keep in mind that that size is 19 to 20 millimeters, so depending on what microphone you have, it may or may not work. Of course, you can get another shock mount for there. It's not a big problem, but the one that's included doesn't fit this microphone. So if that's what you're working with, be aware. So again, obviously that was far from an in-depth, even first impressions video of the camera. Otherwise, I've been loving it. It's very comfortable and easy to use. There's a lot of customizing that you can do, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out where I want what functions and everything like that, what buttons to use for this and that. But I will have a lot more coming, as like I said, comparison test as well. So let me know what you want to see, what you want to find out about this camera, what you want to test about this camera, and I will try to do that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to see more in the future, and as always, thank you for watching.